Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Small Business Spotlight. That's a mouthful for me to get out every single time. I'm here this morning with someone who knows about marketing. She knows all about branding and about marketing and is going to share a lot of that information with us today, particularly for small business owners. Today, I'm working with Brie Rupp from Staples. She's the person who sponsors the $1,000 consortium into Staples and lets us set up our pop-up shops. So Brie, welcome. Good morning.
Great. Thank you for having me.
Particularly
Good
on your day
morning.
off.
Yeah, you really don't stop. It always was running through everything going on. But thank you for having me.
Please. So let's just start out by you telling us about yourself.
I've been in retail and working with businesses since I was 16. I started in a craft store. I got a department when I was 17. And ever since then, that's been what I've been doing. I've run $2 million stores, $3 million stores at my previous job. And then I ended up at Staples, running various stores as assistant managers and general managers. And then once I had my daughter, I decided to kind of step down and figure out a schedule that works for me raising her, as well as something that I'm a bit more passionate about, which is working with small businesses and marketing. So that's the focus that I have for my bachelor's degree, which is business management.
Well, you certainly bring that to the table. All of us who have gotten the chance to get your advice have benefited from that. Thank you.
My pleasure.
And today, can you tell us what you see in terms of how people brand and market their businesses that is critical to success and what mistakes they shouldn't make?
I think the big one I'm noticing right now is we live in a world where there's so much out there that you kind of have to set yourself apart from the situation, especially with big box stores and online retailers like Amazon and even Etsy. You have to be able to market yourself not only as like, I'm local, I'm in the area, I'm small business, but this is why you need to shop with me because I can do this or I can bring this product to you. So setting yourself apart is definitely the point where you want to make sure that your product can stand out from everything else because we are in a society where we do love to shop small businesses. I love small businesses. That's one of my passions is like there's so many small businesses and unfortunately it's one of the big things that fail. Correct me if I'm wrong, it's like 80% of small businesses end up going under before the first 3 years, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
So you have to set yourself apart early and make sure that you're selling something that people want to get versus going to Amazon and having it in 2 days or going to Walmart and picking it up there. So the big one is definitely setting yourself apart from other stuff that we're able to buy from, again, big box retailers or online.
The setting yourself apart, boy, that really rings true with me. I see it with the businesses that I'm working with. Those who have a product that speaks to people or that's topical that people want right now seem to be doing really well. However, marketing and branding seems to also play a big part of it. Can you give us any tips on what to use, how to approach it, what's in now?
Big thing is definitely eye-catching. You want to use a lot of colors, you want to be a lot of clean lines, you want to do a lot of something that's going to bring somebody in. So if you're having like just a line, I'm not going to remember that logo. But for example, like Herbabilities has their beautiful logo and she has a beautiful business cards and you remember those things. So it goes back again to the setting yourself apart, but making sure that you're memorable for everyone buying it. That's the main takeaway. For example, like Walmart's little star, we all see that. We're like, hey, that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
You want to make sure that your logo sticks in people's minds and that way they can connect A to B. So if I need X, Y, and Z, and I know this person locally has it, I remember that and go from there.
What other tips can you give us? So I know you guys offer all kinds of products. What are the products that people seem to reorder the most? The people that are doing the best have that those of us who don't have aren't doing well?
The main staples that we run into are your business cards, your rack cards, your menus, your brochures, and those are basically like your bread and butter of marketing. You're going to use those all the time. Your rack cards, your business cards, you're always handing out. Your brochures, you're always handing out. So one of the things that I recommend when people are doing those is subconsciously, we don't realize it. We judge businesses based off of our eyes. So if a brochure doesn't look good, or it doesn't feel good, or if it doesn't sit in your hand well, you're more likely just to throw it away at the first opportunity you have. So if you see a black and white brochure for a restaurant and you see a color one, you're more likely to keep the color around and you're like, oh, black and white, I've ordered, in the trash it goes. You're less likely to keep those things. So those things that you want to spend the most time on, making sure that you're right with those marketing materials. You have other things like shirts, you have banners, you have all of that stuff available, but it's the one things that you're handing out the most that you want to keep memorable in people's minds.
That's good advice. That's really good advice. How do you feel about social media and your clients that come in? How are they using social media to augment what they're doing?
It's a new terrain that we're starting to work through. And it's kind of like when we switched from VHS to DVD and you learned all this extra stuff we can do and all this extra stuff we can put onto it. It's a transition from paper to print to online service. And it's interesting watching this stuff go down because actually at Staples, we offer the opportunity to set up digital marketing for you as well. And I've had a couple of situations where they've come in and they've shown the traffic of when they started promoting their business and when they started an increase on the sales. So it's really interesting seeing like not only the print stuff, which we're used to, and like going back to it's like VHS, that's what we're used to it now, but we're seeing the new stuff coming out. We're seeing what's available to promote your business. And seeing that increase is it's pretty fun actually. I'm excited about it, but it's more along the lines of it's a new area. You have to figure out what works for your business. So yeah, I guess it answers.
I'm finding that there's a real trade-off between the amount of time that is almost necessary to do marketing and to keep in touch with your audience and the amount of time it takes to build your products and run your business. Are you hearing this from other business owners? It's
marketing is its own job at that point. Not your books, your products, you're increasing your sales, you're trying to find marketing by itself should be its own person on your own staff because it takes up so much of your time. And discussing, because I've had a few conversations with the business builders from UNF, I believe, or FSCJ.
yes, yeah.
And they're saying like your business plan, your figuring out your costs, your buildings, whatever you have to do is the easy part. The marketing is the hard part because when you're first starting out, if you're not sure what to do, it's really hard to figure out how do I get to people, especially in the time we live in now where it's nobody's going to job fairs, nobody's going to, Shrimp Fest is canceled, concourse, whatever. Nobody's doing that anymore. So you have to try to figure out the digital age, or you're handing out cards, or you're trying to set yourself apart in a time where we're really sheltered at home for the most part. We go to work, we go to the store, we come home. So marketing itself should be its own job and its own beast. And especially with small businesses or businesses that are just getting started up, it's really hard to figure out where to start. So yeah, but getting yourself in positions with you or with getting yourself out there, Instagram, Facebook, whatever, is a good start to do it.
Yeah, I've certainly struggled with it. I finally hired someone who helps me part-time to, and I went to FCSJ, to their Small Business Development Center, and they awarded me a consultant to help me with that because it's overwhelming unless you have a real plan and specific messaging, and you have the ability to connect. And I'm still, boy, am I a novice at this.
Yeah, it is, even with what I do on a day-to-day basis, which is build marketing up, like what your business might need. I feel sometimes for people who are coming in who are like, I don't know what to do. And I'm like, let me help you. Let's get started with the basics here. Let's get your business cards. Let's get your menus or your brochures or whatever we need to do. So that way, at least that part's covered. Like you can like paper the town with that all you want. It is one of the more difficult parts of a business, but once you get into it, it's a lot of fun because this is where you reach out to the people who are going to buy your product. So you have to sell not only your product, but what you're handing them in yourself in turn. So marketing is a lot, but it's definitely worth it, and it will make or break a business.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Brie, in closing, thanks for coming to the show. She's at Staples on the island, and I'll tell you, she's helped me. When I go in with I don't know what to do, she's sat there and redesigned it. When I first started the small business fairs to go with the program, I went right down to Brie and she got me set up. I had people who had built the posters, but then enabling them to get them where they were printable, et cetera, et cetera. And then my business cards and everything associated with the cardstock I'm using, everything. So I strongly recommend. She doesn't charge for her services either. It's free advice and we could all use that.
It's what I love to do, so I'll happily help out where I can.
Well, you're good at it. Thanks again for taking the
Thank
time on
you.
your only day off to do this.
My pleasure.
Bye, Brie.
Bye.